IELTS candidates think that the speaking part 3 of the test is all about just answering questions. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. It's actually the examiner testing your ability to give ideas, express your opinions, and speak English more naturally. So even if you're a good English speaker, these mistakes can be the mistakes that are giving you a lower band score. So in this video, we're going to look at 5 of them that could be lowering your band score. So let's dive in. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Zane's English Lounge. It's great to have you alongside again as we learn more about the IELTS and more about how to express our English more naturally. So, talking about the IELTS speaking part 3 of the test, and we wonder why do we fall short sometimes, and why does our band score be so low? Even although we speak uh, fluent English, but it's not about only speaking English fluently. There are some ideas and strategies and tips that we're going to see today that we can use to increase that band score, even though we are speaking English fluently. All right. So the part 3 of the test speaks to our ability to express our opinions and speak more naturally in English. This is where students get tripped up because it has topics about abstract things, right? So it's going to use more of our ability to think out of the box. So sometimes abstract questions can trip us up, right? Things that we not familiar about sometimes, and maybe we're not speculative enough to talk about things in the future, for example. Also, fluency, when we hesitate too much, our fluency breaks down because we're thinking about ideas and we're thinking about what to say. And another thing is our coherence. The ideas don't really connect naturally. And sometimes we're speaking about this and then we're bringing in another topic which don't really connect to the topic that we need to speak about. So our answers become more like lists rather than ideas linking into one another. Also, repeating the same vocabulary. I cannot express and stress the importance of improving our vocabulary bank. So things like synonyms, things like extra vocabulary, topic vocabulary are so important when it comes to the IELTS speaking part 3 test, but also the IELTS speaking test as a whole, and even further the IELTS exam is where we need to have our vocabulary bank topped up. So let's look at some tips and mistakes and strategies that we can use to increase our band score in the IELTS speaking part 3 test. So we're going to look at the method next, right, that we could use to expand our answers and increase our English fluency as well. Okay, so guys, so one of the ways or strategies we can use in the IELTS speaking part 3 test is called the PEAL formula, right? That's the PEEL formula. So let's break it down for us. So the P will stand for your point, right? So this is your main idea, what you're going to build your answer around, right? So basically answering the question, your subject of the answer, right, to the question. And then you're going to explain the reason behind this main idea, right? You can explain it with the word because. I noticed that the word because is a real good linker because it like opens up the whole answer, right? It opens it up to you giving the reasons of why you are giving this answer, your point, right? Then the second E is your example. Always give an example, maybe an experience that you've been through, or a real world example that you have heard, maybe read about, or a statistic even, right? That brings the point to life. Then you're going to link it back to the question, right? So don't move away from the question. Then your coherence will be compromised, right? So you're going to link it back to the point. So you're going to tie it up, round it up, and complete the answer. Okay, so this is the formula that we can use that's going to help us to expand our answer and thereby increase our band score in the part 3 of the test. Okay guys, so let's look at mistake number 1. So this is a mistake that's common throughout the IELTS speaking test, where we give short answers, right? So we have to stop and realize that the IELTS test is an English competency test, right? Which tests our use of the English language and whether we can manage it well. And the role of the examiner is to assess this. So if we give 2 short answers, what is there to assess, right? So we need to give the examiners more. We need to expand our answers so the examiners can know that we can manage the English language well. So the first mistake then would be giving 2 short answers. This also signals a lack of fluency, a lack of vocabulary, because it immediately tells the examiner that I don't know much vocabulary, so therefore I cannot expand on the answer. So let's look at this example of giving short answers. Why do people enjoy shopping in big cities? So as you can see, I have the weak response on the left and the band 7 plus response on the right. If we have to look at it, we're aiming for the band 7 plus response, right? That's what we would like to be there. We would like to get there too, the band 7 plus. And as you've noticed, I have the peel formula, right? The peel method in color as well. So for the point, I have it in pink. I have the explanation in blue, right, light blue, the example in yellow, and the link for purple, right? So I have it color coded so we know exactly how the answer is broken down. So looking at the weak response, why do people enjoy shopping in big cities? Because there are many shops and it's fun. Okay, the answer is correct, straight to the point, but sadly we do not want just straight to the point, especially in the part 3 of the test. The examiner wants to know expressive English language, linking ideas, bringing it all together, and this is where the peel method comes in. So let's look at the band 7 plus response. Why do people enjoy shopping in big cities? Well, I think it's mainly because big cities offer huge variety, from luxury brands to small independent stores. So people feel they have endless choices in one place, right? See example, from luxury brands to independent stores, and then you tie it up. So people feel that they have endless choices in one place. Therefore, people enjoy shopping in big cities. So remember to expand our answers and avoid giving short answers. Okay guys, let's look at mistake number 2, repeating the question. Okay, so while this may sound safe to do and to maybe get some more time to maybe think about our answer. But repeating the question also shows the examiner a lack of vocabulary range, right? So instead of repeating the question, we have a range of phrases that we could use. Uh, Phrases like "I'd say" or "in my view." Oh, it's a good point because, and then we can continue with our answer. Also, repeating the question also, yeah, just shows the examiner that we really don't know what the question is asking sometimes. So that's why we repeat it, and we lose time as well as showing the examiner that my vocabulary range is not good. So let's look at the question here. Do you think technology has changed family life? Okay, so have a weak response. You're saying yes, technology has changed family life a lot. Okay, once again, straightforward answer, not really ideal. What we're looking for is some examples of maybe what we've experienced, or maybe we have a friend that technology has changed their family life a lot that we know of and experience. That's what the examiner is looking for. They're looking for experiences, they're looking for what do we know, what do we have experienced, right? And this again is where the peel method comes in. Our point, our main point, we're giving an example, we explaining the point, and then we linking it back to the question. So the band 7 response would read like this: absolutely. I say smartphones in particular have reshaped how families interact because, right, dinner table conversations now compete with constant notifications, right? So we give an example, we give a link back to the answer we want to give, and thereby we giving an expanded answer, not just a closed answer, right? So repeating the question, we're using phrases, we're using our peel method to expand the answers as well. Okay guys, so let's look at mistake number 3, avoiding abstract ideas. So guys, abstract ideas is really something challenging to talk about, right? Because it's not something physical, right? It's something um, we think of in our minds and we have to talk about it, right? So it's not something concrete like a phone or a book or a car, for example, but it's something like success, something about education, yeah, maybe loyalty. So these are abstract ideas. And what part 3 of the IELTS speaking test does is addresses or it points to more abstract ideas which we have to talk about, right? So that makes it challenging for the student or the IELTS test taker. So, and sometimes we just avoid it completely and we just like give um, just a closed answer and not going further, not speculating. Yeah, so abstract is more speculating, and part 3 it does exactly this, right? It asks you about to speculate about abstract topics in the future. So this is where we need to use our modal verbs, right? What could happen? It might happen because we're speaking about in the future, right? So one thing I must mention is we are speculating about what could happen in the future. So we don't know, right? We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we are just speculating. So we must not be afraid to give our opinion about what might happen in the future, because I'm not there yet, you're not there yet, but could happen, could not happen. It's just our opinion, right? So let's look at a abstract idea example. How might education change in the future, right? So it's a modal verb, might, the future. How might it change? So we want opinions. We want to know what do you think, right? Um, Looking at this weak response, this is exactly what I mean by avoiding an abstract idea. I don't know. Maybe it will be different, right? You see how weak this response is. No ideas, no speculation. How might it be different? No opinion of how might it change, right? So it's just this closed answer of I don't know. Maybe it will be different. That is totally avoiding the abstract idea, totally avoiding the response. But let's look at a good band 7 plus response, right? So it's hard to predict, but I imagine classrooms will become more personalized. AI tutors could adapt lessons in real time, which might make traditional exams less central, right? So we see the words like but I imagine, right? Thinking about the future, imagining what it could be. Things like AI tutors could adapt lessons in real time, which might make traditional exams less central. Okay, so we see modal verbs being used, speculating about the future, what could be, what could not be. So this is how we approach the abstract ideas question and how to answer it in this way. Okay, guys, moving on to mistake number 4. Poor linking between ideas. So in the IELTS speaking test, the presence of linkers is really important. Words that link the sentence together. So imagine you're driving a car and you're always stopping and going and stopping and going and stopping and going. It just makes the ride less smooth, right? So what the presence of linkers does in the English sentence, right? Or the English response. It makes the sentence or it makes the response smoother, right? So it takes out all the stops and the linking words just makes the sentence more fluent. Okay, so this is true in when we have poor linking between ideas, that the sentences are just stop, stop, stop. Okay, as we see in this example. Um, why do some people prefer to live in the countryside? We say this response, the countryside is quiet, full stop. The air is clean, full stop. People are friendly, full stop. Okay, we have 3 points, which is good, but how is the fluency of this response? Quiet, stop, start, response, right? This is not what we want. We really want a fluent response, an answer that flows nicely. Let's look at a band 7 plus response that we can have. Many prefer the countryside because it's noticeably quieter. On top of that, the air is cleaner, which in turn makes daily life feel less stressful than in the city. See our linkers? Note our linkers, right? Because it's noticeably quieter. On top of that, the air is cleaner, which in turn makes daily life feel less stressful than in the city. So you see the presence of linkers most definitely makes the response smoother and easier to follow for the person that's listening, in this case, the examiner. And we have come to the last mistake. Mistake number 5. Overgeneralizing without using any examples. Right? So remember guys, we are using the peel method in this video. Right? Our point, our explanation, our example, and our linking back to the question. So if we are too general, right, overgeneralizing, there is no examples, there is no explanation. It's just one simple do you like sport, or how has sport influenced the uh, next generation. I think sport has influenced the next generation in a good way. Super general, something we do not want, right? We want examples. How has sport influenced the next generation? What have you seen? What have you heard? Have you had any examples? How has it influenced the next generation? That's what we want to know. But let's look at this example though. Do you think advertising influences children? Okay. Uh, this weak response is something that's overgeneralized, right? Yes, advertising influences children a lot. It is everywhere and very powerful, right? As you can see, not one example, no detail at all. It's just a simple general response. As compared to a band 7 plus response. Definitely take fast food ads for cartoons, or take fast foods ads during cartoons, for instance. But there's our example. Research in the UK found kids who watched them were, were far more likely to request those products at the supermarket. So let's look at it again. Definitely take fast food ads during cartoons, for instance. Research in the UK found kids who watched them were far more likely to request those products at the supermarkets. Right? So now we're giving examples. We are saying how do these fast food ads influence children? Okay, when they're watching cartoons. So this is a response that is specific. It's giving an example and it's giving the result of that example, right? Okay, okay. So guys, it's World Cup season, and the World Cup is here, and it just reminds me of all those wonderful players that play in this beautiful tournament, as it's called, the beautiful game. And just to think how all these players were selected for this tournament, right? They were selected through practice, through hard work, and that's how they ended up being selected for their respective countries. Is through practice, hard work, determination, believing in yourself, self-confidence. And it's the same with English, right? Practice, practice, practice. Believe in yourself. Be self-confident. Know that you can do this, right? And it will give you success. The same way these players are playing for their countries in the World Cup. So because it's the World Cup, I just wanted to bring that thought out, and I just thought about these things, that practice, practice, and practice will give you the success that you are looking for. Okay, so guys, we have come to the end of this video. If you like the content, please like the video, share it, and subscribe. Also, as always, leave a comment in the section below and let me know what you are struggling with in IELTS. Maybe something that you want to tell me. I value your input, I value your comments, so that would be great. So guys, I look forward to seeing you next time in Zane English Lounge. Thank you for joining me again today, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.